Hi everybody and welcome to another incredible episode of the Being Politely Rebellious in Pompey video podcast. Today we are joined by Pompey's best known promoter, Nick Courtney. Don't go anywhere and please remember to like, subscribe and share.
It was quite a bullying type of school.
Yeah.
Everything was violent back then, everyone hit you, the teachers hit you, your dad hit you, everyone hit you.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, so it was quite nasty. It was, a very bullying environment. And they decided they're going to do a festival. Yeah. And I'm the one who knows the music, so they came to me to do the music. We do the first two in the dockyard, and I booked it all apart from the headliners, which was like dodging the light and sea. The rest of it was all local. Yeah. And that was the game changer. Yeah, because all of a sudden we've got this. Portsmouth never had anything where people, big names have came here.
Never.
So I did the People's Plan for Southsea, and we got 5,000 members. And the original idea for the group was to, if someone came up with a good idea, whether it be council-based or anywhere else, and it was opposed by local residents who consider it to be their back garden, what they called the NIMBYs, not in my backyard.
Not in my backyard,
We would go up against them using the power of the 5,000.
Hi everybody and welcome to this episode of Being Politely Rebellious in Pompey. We're joined today by the absolute legendary Nick Courtney. If you don't know him, you've probably been living underneath a rock somewhere. He is Pompey's most popular promoter by a long shot. How you doing, mate? All right?
Oh, good, thank you.
Good.
Very for me, but it's very good.
It's like midday, right? Yeah. So you're a night owl, right?
I am a night owl,
And that comes with the territory, though.
It does, but I've always been a night owl. To be fair.
Oh, really? Were you like that as a child as well?
I think not as a young child, but growing up, I've always been a night person.
The hormones and teenage years started kicking in.
Yeah, my bedtime's like 2:30.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Yeah. And what do? Do you listen to music? Do you like binge watch TV?
No, I work.
Just hardcore.
I work constantly.
You juggle a lot, don't you?
Yeah, I do about 100 hours a week.
That's crazy, isn't it? And we'll come to that. But tell me to start with. Tell me a bit about your early life. Are you from Pompey?
Yes and no.
Tell me the story.
I actually feel like I am.
Yeah.
But I spent about the first 3 months. I was born in Bridport.
Oh yeah.
In Dorset.
Yeah.
Only because that's where my dad met my mum and where they happened to be at the time. But my dad was Portsmouth born and bred, so obviously we were only there for a very short period.
Yeah.
So I've only ever known Portsmouth, but my grandparents lived in Bridport. Yeah. So I spent school holidays there.
Oh, that's
so I still have an affinity to it.
Yeah.
If I go there, I still feel like that's also
part of your childhood.
Part of me,
Yeah.
But
part of your upbringing.
Inside,
you're Pompey.
I'm Pompey.
Yeah. So did you go to school in Portsmouth?
Yes, yeah.
Where did you go?
I went to my infant school at St Jude's.
Oh yeah.
Southsea.
Yeah. Is that the Catholic one?
No, it's Church of England.
No, okay.
I believe.
I'm thinking of a different one.
Yeah, St Jude's, and after that I went to Southern Grammar for
Did
boys.
you?
Yeah, which changed in its last year to Great Sons.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you had to actually pass an exam to go there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was back in the grammar school
year
days.
6? Yeah, where you do the thing at about 11 years old, like that.
That's right. Yeah, like 11 plus, and you that determined what school you went to.
So you're smart.
Apparently so. Well, smart enough to get into a grammar school, which was smart at the time, but I didn't do very well at school.
No.
I didn't really like it. In fact, no, I didn't. I actually hated it.
Did you?
Yeah, I hated school. It was quite a bullying type of school.
Yeah.
Everything was violent back then. Everyone hit you. The teachers hit you. Your dad hit you. Everyone hit you.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. So it was quite nasty. It was, a very bullying environment.
So were you like would you say like an odd one out? Like were you targeted, or was it just like one group of lads and another group of lads?
No, it was. I was the one who tried to be funny all the time.
Oh, okay.
I thought
cheeky chappy.
Yeah, I thought it was good to be funny,
Yeah.
and back then also my parents weren't very wealthy, and it was the times where you had. Well, one, it was a grammar school, and two, it was down in the times where even though you were wearing a school uniform, there were still elements of the uniform where you could get designer.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have that, you could get picked on.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
It's like now, isn't it? Nowadays, I suppose, like with shoes, are your shoes from Clark's or are they from Asda?
Exactly.
And with your trousers, are they Marxies or are they Asda?
Yeah, so you could get picked on for that reason.
It's so true.
Yeah, there were so many different reasons that you could.
Yeah.
School was difficult.
What happened?
But I turned that around.
Yeah. What do you mean by you turned that around?
Well, I got my head around it and managed to change things.
Like get to the end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Intellectually managed to sort it out, and not let it affect me anyway.
So did you like pass your GCSEs and stuff like that?
No, I was. I think I got maths. No, sorry, not maths. No, definitely not maths. I got art, English language. Just art and English language, I think.
I like that. Quite creative,
one I had to draw a picture, and the other one I had to write a poem. So that was nice and easy.
Spot on,
so I walked out with about the equivalent of 2 O levels.
What did you do after that?
CSEs. Well, I decided I wanted to be a chef.
Oh wow.
Back then, you could actually choose your career. The people would come from the dockyard and come from various places, and you could have an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
You could say I want to be a builder or a plumber or whatever, and you could have an apprenticeship. For some reason, I'd been working in kitchens as a wash rapper. And loved the environment, and decided I was going to be a chef. And when I found out a chef required 0 qualifications to get into catering college,
right.
Didn't need them, didn't bother take it. Well, took them, but
it's like
didn't bother.
It's a whole new start of your life, basically.
So, didn't need qualifications, so didn't really bother trying to get any. But when I went to catering college, where I was doing something I loved, I was topping everything.
You excelled.
I was the best. And I did really, really well. Again, another bullying environment. Even chefs teaching you, they'd throw chopping boards at your head, and it was
crazy, isn't it?
Again, a really the bullying environment continued, but that was the nature of the time. Everything was like
there was no like HR processes.
No, anyone could do anything. I mean, at school, a teacher could hit you with throw the blackboard rubber at your head, the wooden blackboard rubber.
And like the
they'd
old
twist your nipples.
Twist your nipples.
Yeah. They'd take a 20-yard run up with a slipper.
Wow.
It was very, very bullied environment.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you said like your dad was a violent person?
Yeah, he could be. Yeah. I think again, it was back in the times where you could get
away with it.
Well, it was back in times where if you were naughty, you got slapped.
Yeah.
Most people did of my age growing up.
What was that saying? And I know it is a saying, but it was more prominent back then. Like children should be seen and not heard.
Yeah, I had that.
Yeah,
I grew up with that.
Yeah.
My dad was very strict.
Really?
Yeah, which kept me out of trouble.
Yeah. So like had its
benefit.
And roundabouts.
Yeah, it had its benefit. Yeah.
Where did the influence of music come from? Was that
from my dad?
Was it really?
Yeah. My dad was in skiffle groups in the 50s.
What's that?
Skiffle was pre-rock and roll, where they had like a tea-chest bass with one string.
Oh, wow!
And washboards with stuff. So they thought it was almost homemade instruments to a certain degree. It was pre-rock and roll, just before Elvis. Times of Lonnie Donegan and people like that.
Right.
And he was in a skiffle band in Dorset, in Bridport. And his best mate was a bloke called Ian Stewart. And early on they answered an advert in Melody Maker from one of the Rolling Stones, the one who died, I can't remember his name. And my dad was going to go for drummer and his mate was going to go for keyboards. My dad decided not to go, but his mate went. And he became the keyboard player in the Rolling Stones.
Wow.
And Andrew Oldham, their manager, decided he was too ugly, so stuck him behind the crane.
Oh, wow.
For his entire career. So he was actually the 5th Rolling Stone until he died in the 80s, and their road manager. He's on every album.
Wow.
But he wasn't allowed to appear on stage.
He wasn't allowed to be...
And he wasn't. And the Rolling Stones aren't actually the most best blokes in the world. But if you look at him, he looks a bit like an accountant.
Right.
And I remember meeting him at a party.
Almost too clean-cut looking kind of thing.
It just didn't fit the image that they wanted.
Yeah.
But I met him at a party in the late 70s, a little reunion they had with their friends. I spoke to him about David Bowie for the whole night, not really realising I was with one of the Rolling Stones.
Wow.
Which was quite incredible.
So my dad had that environment.
But also the Rolling Stones used to come down to Bridport, stay in my dad's flat to listen to his jazz records.
Wow.
And that also spun off in another direction where another one of his friends was his friends were mum and dad of what turned out to be PJ Harvey, who is another massive, I don't know if you heard of PJ Harvey. She's a massive music, she's very popular.
Yeah.
And I remember going up their house when she was about 6 years old and playing farmyard animals on the floor with her, and later on she's won some of the massive awards in music.
Insane, isn't
it?
So you're almost
always
surrounded by
Yeah, that was through the Rolling Stones connection. I think that she actually got signed, so it was quite interesting. So
it's really interesting.
he always played. He stopped playing when he had bringing children up.
Yeah.
And he used to sit in one room of the house and just play guitar on his own. But the music was always in my house.
Yeah.
And he also had a small vinyl collection with Beatles, Rubber Soul, and a few albums, which, because the music was constant in my life, it became a part of my life without me even knowing it. It was a very influential
but almost like
part
subconsciously.
And then when it got to about 1980, I was at catering college in the toilet having a pee, and this bloke next to me called Adam Cole said to me, "Hey Nick, do you want to be in a band?" And I went, "Yeah."
Why not, mate?
Yeah, okay. So
can I finish my wee first though?
Yeah. So I became a singer, he was a guitarist, and 3 weeks later we were playing pubs.
Oh wow.
And it was right in the start of mod, punk, new wave, everything, the most exciting time ever.
Yeah, I bet.
And 3 weeks later we were playing pubs.
Wow.
And we basically did it for girls, which was
great.
Yeah,
why not? Yeah. Exactly.
And it was great. We did it for about a year.
Did you do like covers, originals?
We did. We wrote our own songs.
Wow.
Most of it was our own. We had covers in there as well.
Yeah.
We were pretty bad. If I listen to it now, it's like quite shocking in relation to what I brought.
Oh, bad as in not good?
Yeah, no, we weren't amazing. Literally, I'd never sung before. He just learned to play the guitar.
Yeah.
He's amazing now.
Yeah.
He's a DJ and a man.
Oh wow.
We meet up sometimes, and he's an incredible musician. But I couldn't play anything at the time, so I was just singing. But we wrote the songs together.
Oh, how interesting.
But now
why Oman?
That's where he's.
He went there. That's where my dad's from. That's all.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, no, it's quite random.
I think he went there probably to play hotels and stuff with his
Yeah,
wife.
fair enough. Yeah,
she was a singer.
Yeah.
They filmed a band out there.
Yeah.
Liked it, stayed there, and he's still there. And he's a DJ on Oman National Radio.
How funny.
Yeah, and teaches in the English schools.
Wow.
So
so interesting.
So that stage, also, I'm actually in the stage of my first music promoting without knowing it. We formed a band. We got a residency at the Stage Door Club in the Strand, in Southsea, and every Thursday we played, and I started booking other bands to play with us.
So it was like just a natural.
Yeah. So I was actually promoting.
Wow.
At that stage, without even knowing what promoting was, but literally putting the bands on with us every week.
Yeah.
And it was really popular. A lot of people came to it, and I met all the bands at the time, and that really gave me a little taste of promoting, even though I didn't know I was doing it. And then I stopped and opened my own restaurant, stopped the band, and had children. And for the next 15 years, more than that, didn't really do music anymore.
Where was your restaurant, and what did it kind of specialise in?
It was called Mr. Rickard's Restaurant, which was my middle name, named after my granddad.
Nice.
My mum's maiden name, and it was opposite St Jude's Church in Victoria Road North.
Yeah.
I just finished catering college. I'd been to work in Paris at the Hilton.
God, that must have been an experience.
Yeah, we were trained to the absolute top degree of catering. When we got to France, we could cook French cuisine better than French, that high standard. Wow. So I was the first English chef to work in the best restaurant in the Hilton in Paris. Wow. It was a hell of an experience. I lived there for about 6 months. And then my apartment burnt down in the night with an electrical fault, and I decided it was time to come home. No, I was out clubbing.
Okay. Good, luckily.
I was out clubbing. So I decided it was time to come home.
Yeah.
And I walked into Fine Kent Estate Agents in Marming Road.
Yeah.
And this is so weird. I said, "Have you got any restaurants to rent?" Yeah. Which no one ever has a restaurant to rent. Yeah. And they said, "Yeah, we got round the corner, £100 a week."
Wow.
So there's me at 21 years old, opened my own restaurant, which I ran for about a year. And it was traditional English. It was, again, at the beginning of the 80s. All the clubs were still on the seafront. So I would do roast dinners all night. I never closed. Wow. I think I opened Thursday lunchtime and closed Sunday night, 52 hours in a row. Wow. And I'd do roast dinners for the people coming home from the club, so they didn't have to get up the next day.
Oh,
so you could have a roast dinner at 3 o'clock in the morning.
That's brilliant.
And then on Sunday we did 200 covers. I only sat 30. People wait 5.5 hours for a meal, and they wouldn't care. That's it was like a massive party, and I'd be cooking in the kitchen on my own and DJing with records at the same time.
What a legend!
And it was fantastic.
What an absolute way to spend the time of your life.
And it was like the punks, the mods, all the normal people. Everyone was mixed in together, and we had a party every Sunday.
Having a blast.
Yeah.
And then what happened to Mr. Rickard's?
Again, after about a year, year and a half, I suddenly realised it's a property game, catering. Unless you own the property and you've got a business to sell at the end of it, you're actually never going to achieve anything. And the same problem today as it was then, you could be really busy at the weekend and then the rest of the week was dead. So you'd be sitting there on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you'd be lucky if 2 people came.
So then you're still
so everything you made at the weekend, you lost in the week. And you think all your friends will support you, and they do to a little bit at the start, and then disappear.
I've noticed that with business.
So it was a good lesson to learn, and it was a lesson that's always taught me not to do it again, not to have my own venue. People say, "Why have you got your own pub? Why have you got your own venues?" Because I've done that, and I know the reality of it, and I learned that nicely young. So I steered away from
taking on
anything in that direction, and then I went off. Then I went off in different directions after that, and everything changed. Career changes.
But then, so you ended up having a vinyl shop for a really long time, didn't you? So how did that come about?
Well, after the restaurant, I went into catering recruitment.
You're
a
recruiter, are you?
Well, I walked into this national company called Select Appointments in Commercial Road, and said, "I want to start the catering side of your business."
Right.
Again, I was very young. Crazy thing to do, and they gave me the job.
Wow.
So I was sending chefs and waiters all over the city, 50 waiters for the Guild of all, chef there, so there.
Oh God, that's so interesting.
Very stressful.
I've got a recruitment company.
Right.
I've got 2, and it is.
Okay.
I want this to kick off, so as I don't have to do it anymore.
Exactly. Well, with recruitment, as you know, especially with temporary staff, doesn't matter how well you do, they set you new targets, and it's really stressful because you can never.
The pressure
you're
never
good
leaves you,
enough.
does it?
You never do good enough because whatever you do, they give you more to do. So I again was working 70 hours a week, sitting in Commercial Road office at 2 o'clock in the morning trying to get 50 waiters for the next day. And I'd say, "I need some help. I've got too much business," and they go, "Who do you think you are? No, get on with it."
You wanted to do it,
get on with it.
And
then about a year later, they called me up for an appraisal in London with the managing director. "You can have your own office in Portsmouth. We're going to get you staff. We're going to replicate what you've done across the whole company." And I went, "I don't want it now. I resigned. See you later. Bye-bye." And I left on the spot.
Very politely rebellious.
Very politely rebellious. I thought, no, I'm not. After all that,
and if you were going to do that, because I mean, I worked in recruitment for big agencies. For the first 3-4 years of my recruitment career, and then I was like, screw this, and I quit and I set up on my own. So if you were gonna do it and work 70 hours a week, you just as well have done it for yourself. But it wouldn't have been as easy to have done that back then.
I remember sitting there the day that I left, and I sat there, and it became overwhelming. I sat there and I thought every minute I didn't want to be there the following minute. And I sat there and I couldn't do anything. And I thought I have got to go. And it was that day. It was overwhelming. This has to end here. So
it's really powerful, isn't it?
I ended it right on that day.
I think it's really powerful when you've got that the strength inside of you to be that person. Because I've done that many times throughout my career, and there were times where people would call me ruthless. Even my own husband would be like, "Oh my God, I'm really surprised that you've done that." And I'm like, but to me, it's not being ruthless, it's being politely rebellious.
It's for my own sanity.
Your own sanity.
And
you've got
and
to
also a
first.
principle. It was a principle of...
don't take the bloody piss.
I mean, they gave me a substantial pay rise, they gave me everything I wanted, it was too late. I thought, I don't want this now. So I quit, and I think, if I remember rightly, that was about 84, something, around 84, 85. And I decided at that moment I would never work for anyone else again. And that's the day I became self-employed.
Wow. And I guess all of that time that you did spend as a recruiter though, you'd eliminated any phone fear, had it have ever been there beforehand anyway.
It put me into a sales environment.
So the foundations
I became a salesman. And I was good at it, really good at it. So I was also a bit of an entrepreneur. I always wanted to make a lot of money. And I thought I was clever enough to do it. But I did what everyone does even today, and I racked my brains trying to think of things that were completely different, that would make money. And I came up with this first thing I did was I came up with this one number where you phone everything, whether you wanted a plumber, a builder, whatever you wanted, you phoned one number. There's no internet. So it was an advert in the paper. It was called Contact the Business Link Line, and you phoned the number, and I recommended whatever you needed. So I had a list of all these different professions, and they gave me a percentage.
Oh wow.
And It was like checker trade.
Yeah,
it was like checker trade before checker trade, because we sent out. They did. They appraised the businesses they used and everything else. It was a real early version of checker trade.
I love it.
But it was really hard to get the money out of the people, like the builders. They had to work out their costs, and I thought this isn't working. So I turned it round and I created Contact the Business Link Line, which was a discount card.
Okay.
So all the discounts I've negotiated with all the builders, I gave back to the customers. So you sold the card for £10. You bought the discount card, and everywhere you went, 200 local businesses, restaurants, shops, services, you pulled the card out and you got money off.
A bit like a taste card type thing.
Exactly. Again, way before that, way before anything that happened. Thought it was a great idea. And the only problem was the card never sold. So I had 200
concept was there?
200 local businesses all signed up. I had an advert in the paper, 2 double side spreads and all that, and nothing happened. So I then tried to reverse it and sell it to people like IBM as a company
like
card.
A company thing,
and
they
nearly
do that kind
pulled
of stuff
off.
now.
And then that was. I was just about to launch a new variation of it, and I was twisting and turning it. It was great, and I had a cot death.
Oh my god.
I woke
throw
up.
that out there.
I woke up.
I had to register what you were.
I woke up on the business launch day, and I lost the baby.
Oh my god.
She died in the night for no reason, which completely turned my world inside out.
Did you have other children at the time?
It was my second one.
Wow.
Yeah, a little girl.
How old was she?
She was 9.5 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
So that completely turned my life inside out. The business side, everything, my head, everything had gone at that stage. And then really my marriage went down. My business,
that kind of thing.
It was right in the middle of Thatcher's recession, where the businesses were dropping like flies. So out of my 200 independent businesses all signed, they all started going bust one at a time. I ended up with substantially in debt. Substantially, probably about 20,000 in debt. And it was a pretty bad time. So I lost my marriage, a child, my business, ended up in a DHSS bedsit, and probably took 2 years off to it took me 2 years to recover from that. But meanwhile, I went down the courts to find out what could be done to you when you owe that sort of money, because no one had a clue. Got the leaflets from the courts, couldn't understand a word of them, all in legal jargon. So I translated
like the
them.
Bankruptcy, insolvency type thing.
What could be done to you when you owe money. So I translated it all into basic English. Wrote a book on it.
Oh wow!
And
you're a man of sorry, I wasn't expecting any of this today. God!
I wrote a book called How to Collect Debts Without Using a Solicitor.
Wow!
And I reversed it for people who were owed money rather than owing them money.
Right.
And also devised a debt collection system for companies to actually send out to collect debts without using solicitors.
Wow!
And I went out selling it. From door to door.
Wow.
Someone bought 800 copies, and the next minute they've made me managing director of a company, and I'm training the credit control departments of large companies and running a full multi-level marketing business of all these people.
Talk about a comeback.
And it was like his gold embossed ring binder with this whole system, and I became a leading expert on debt collection.
Wow.
I knew more than solicitors at the time.
That
it was quite incredible.
Insane.
So I lived off that for 2 years.
Wow.
Eventually, that ran out of steam. Can't remember what reason. And
do you get bored quite easy? Like, do you kind of?
No, because I never get time to get bored.
Really?
Yeah. At one stage, I took 2 years out because it was too much. So I went fishing. I went fishing on Southway Pier. I just sat there with a fishing rod, stared out to sea, and got my head back together. It took me 2 years, and.
Did you ever have any therapy or anything like that?
No, that was my therapy. My mother's an alternative therapist.
Okay.
So she's been a bit of a rock on that, and that's helped a lot. But I had literally sorted my head out by fishing. Sat on the pier, and that's why Southway Pier has a real special place for me. We can talk about that a little bit.
You're heavily involved in that, aren't you?
And that's the foundation of that. Why it has a special place, because it that's how I got my head back together. And while I'm doing that, a friend of mine said. I was selling all I had left in the world at that time was my record collection. I had 3,000 7-inch singles and 500 LPs, which I collected as a child. And I started selling them because it's all I had left. And and I was selling them for really cheap, £1 a single, £2 an album at the pier on a Sunday market.
Oh wow.
In the Gaiety, and they were flying out. And the reason they were flying out is because some of them were really quite valuable, but I didn't have a clue.
You didn't realise.
And then people started bringing records into me to buy. And then a friend of mine had a sweet shop in Frankton Road, and I said to him, "You want to start doing records because they're actually selling."
Yeah.
And this sweet shop was called Sweet Memories.
Right.
And he went and bought a collection of records and put them in the sweet shop. So it was half old-fashioned sweets and half vinyl records. And he said, "Do you want to help me run it?" And I went, "No, not really." I was like, "Well, got off."
Yeah.
So in the end, I went in there, started helping him out, and I said to him, "If someone was to walk in here and ask you how much would the business be to buy it, what would you say?" And he said, I think it was £3,000 at the time, and I couldn't even get a bank account.
Yeah.
So we found a way of doing it on credit.
Yeah.
Basically, the business was bought with his own money.
Yeah.
So he did it over a 10-month period.
Wow.
And I managed to buy a business with not one penny in my pocket.
Yeah.
And I bought the money. The business was bought with the money out of the till, which is really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
all of a sudden,
as you were selling vinyls, that was then the profit was going towards buying the company.
Yeah. He sold the business to me, but he wanted the money over 10 months.
Yeah.
So I paid for it out of the money out of the till.
Yeah.
So 10 months later.
Yeah.
I've got a business. I haven't got any money at all.
That's amazing.
So and then.
So was that massive record shop?
We start the first
in Frankton Road.
Well, the first one was right in the middle of Frankton Road. It's like a little Chinese takeaway now.
Yeah.
That was the first one. Then they moved to the end of Frankton by the bridge.
Yeah.
There was a massive one on the bridge with all vinyl records outside it.
Yeah.
And then the third one was by Asda's.
Yeah. So on that part there. Yeah.
So this went on for 27 years.
God.
So
we were obsessed with vinyls in my house, by the way, which is why I remember it being like the only option really for so many years until vinyls blew back up again.
Yeah.
But yeah, you probably love my husband's collection. It's like very eclectic.
Okay. Well, the business was in my mother's name, so I couldn't have a business then anyway. So it was her business technically, and became mine later. But anyway, I became a leading expert on vinyl.
Yeah.
Also, I learned that some of these records I was selling were worth an absolute fortune. And I loved vinyl anyway, and vinyl had just gone out. That was the interesting thing. Vinyl had finished; it was gone. CDs had come along.
Yeah.
So I started opened a record shop when record shops were closing.
That's crazy, isn't it?
And it was the best time ever because I was selling to 60 countries worldwide.
Yeah.
The internet was brand new. It was about 97, I think. The internet was very new, and so we started off by selling out manual catalogues. I was literally selling out catalogues. So you put an advert in the Record Collector magazine, cost £1,000 for an advert. And then when they bought a record, you sent the catalogue and they bought more records from the catalogue.
Yeah.
And then the internet arrived and then things changed.
Wow.
Yeah. I'd already had minor computer experience with my contact business link line. The Amstrad computer came out with a green screen and you could put 100 names and addresses on there and search on it without having to look them up.
Oh my
and
goodness.
to put 100 names and addresses on a computer, you had to back it up at night on 10 floppy disks.
That noise
10
it
little
would
floppy.
make.
No, that was the games
isn't it?
machine.
Oh yeah, that's the
business machine.
Atari on.
Yeah, Atari. Which I do all that. But you had to back 100 names and addresses up on 10 discs at night. So it took you half an hour to back up
to do that.
100 names and addresses. So next thing with the times we've done, and we've got the internet's arrived.
Yeah.
So never really worked with computers. We didn't have them in schools, no such thing. So I googled how to build a website, and I taught myself how to build a website from Google using HTML, basic HTML language. Yeah. And I built my own website, and it was. You can actually go on a site called Wayback Machine on the internet and put your address in. It will show you a website from the day you built it at periods right up to now.
Wow.
So if I go back and look at it, it's...
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wayback Machine.
Wayback Machine.
We'll put a little link in so you
put your
can check
website.
it out. That's really interesting.
So I put it in there, and it's just, and the website, everything's like centered all the way down. It's all in multicoloured text, and it's quite horrific now. But at the time,
it was like life
amazing.
changing. Yeah.
So not only did I learn how to build the website, I also learned the HTML, how to get your website to the top of the search engines.
Well, now we would know that as like SEO.
SEO. Yeah. So I learned SEO at the same time. And for some reason, I got it right. And if you were anywhere in the world and you typed vinyl records into your computer,
yours would come up.
I was number one worldwide for 15 years.
That's mental,
yeah. Which was incredible.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, that is just gold dust.
I mean, it's every business owner's like dream. I mean, we struggle with it with all of our businesses. Like, how do we get on the first page of Google without paying for it?
Exactly. And it's not a case of getting to the first page of Google for the name of your business. That's very easy.
Yeah, it's
for what
you
do.
Yeah.
So Vinyl Records had 17 million results, and I'm number one. So someone in America told Vinyl Records, Sweet Memories in Fratton Road, which used to be a sweet shop, it's now just a record shop. It's number one. Yeah. So I'm doing trade in 60 countries worldwide.
Incredible.
And it's doing really well. And then basically as years went on, Google changed everything. So they dropped it so you couldn't get found in America. Unless you were a .com site, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
So your American business went out the drain.
Right.
And then they did the same in Europe. European business went out the drain.
And
then the end result was geolocating on your phone. Your phone knows where you are. So we're only going to show you results in
your area.
So all of a sudden the internet is now worthless. Because no one can find you anywhere else in the world.
That's such an interesting way of hearing it.
Yeah.
Because we look at the internet now as this big wide world.
Yes.
Whereas actually it did start off as World Wide Web, www,
and it ended
then
up
it
with
slowly,
local. And the reason they've done that obviously is they want you to pay. Same as everything else. Same as Facebook today. So they want you to pay. So they actually destroyed the internet and made it so you had to pay to be seen anywhere else. But for 15, 20 years I had it. I was at the top. And obviously even when it got difficult at the end, I still had the reputation and I still had the customers aboard and I was still getting found from links and other ways of doing it.
Crazy, isn't it?
But so I became very clever with SEO. So I taught that to my wife and she became a web designer. And did web designer and HTML, and she still does that periodically in between kids and stuff.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So where did the promotion and becoming Pompey's Pompey's promoter come about?
So
was it off the back of the record shop?
No, I've got my record shop. That's my my main source of living. My dad has separated from my mum at this stage, and this is obviously a lot longer. And he's back in the music scene. Right. He's a promoter. He was a promoter. He was a medical photographer at QA. And he did weddings. So he'd make internal organs smile during the day, and then he'd do weddings at night. But music was his passion. So he started doing all the folk clubs. He compared them. He booked for some of them, and eventually he had his own night, his own club, which was called the Rhythm, Roots and Blues Club at the Old House at Home in Milton.
Milton, down where St James's was.
Yeah, he did Thursdays.
Oh wow!
And so he booked all the acts. He ran the club, and it was back in the days when no open mic existed. They were called folk clubs. And traditional folk clubs were folk clubs, where it was very folky. But my dad wasn't a massive fan of folk. He liked skiffle, rock and roll, and so he could up and do a Mark Bolan song, or he'd do something completely different to folk. So he allowed people to do things that weren't folk. And this club became almost like the first open mic club, without knowing it.
Because the Old House at Home, I mean, and I know I used to go there a lot when I was living down in town. And it was always still very well known for its music.
Very well known.
Is that what it's like today?
I don't know. I don't have a lot to do with now, but I think they still do music. But this was the side room rather than the pub. It was the little room, and I didn't go a lot. I went 3 or 4 times.
Shop all the latest now at politelyrebellious.co.uk.
And people loved it, and he had a big regular crowd there, and he did a raffle, and he ran this club, and he absolutely loved it, and he did a few other things, like he did Fernham Hall, he did some folk clubs, and he was quite well known on the circuit, and he was a lovely, gentle guy, and everything that I have done since is based on him, even though it wasn't intentional, it became that way. So anyway, he became he became ill at 7. He had a pacemaker and a heart condition, so he retired early. But when he got to about 70, he pricked his foot or something, got a foot infection, and got sepsis. He was in hospital, and
dangerous, isn't it?
it killed him. So they decided that because he was 70, he had a pacemaker and was having breathing difficulties after they'd taken him through one round of
the intravenous antibiotics. Yeah,
that he wasn't worth saving. They made a decision that his life wouldn't. What was it? Quality of life wouldn't be very good if they carried on.
That's nuts.
So
that's absolutely nuts.
I thought that they actually fought when someone was ill or was dying to the end to keep you alive.
Yeah.
They don't.
No.
They actually make a decision whether you're worth saving.
Well, and I know that that's something that became really paramount during COVID, right?
Yeah.
That was really clear that there were decisions being made as to who was being saved and who wasn't, and there was lots of disagreements around age and race and gender. And
my dad was a really fit, big bloke. Not big bloke. I mean, he was a real, very fit, powerful man who was definitely not ready to die. He'd been running the folk club on a Thursday. They're making a decision in the hospital 2-3 weeks later. So they basically he had internal bleeding and stuff. They couldn't find where it was coming from, so they decided to withdraw his medication and let him die.
Wow.
And
it sounds a bit like that euthanasia thing, doesn't it? Almost.
It's very much like euthanasia. It was quite shocking. I'm still shocked by it today. It was 2003, I think.
Yeah. Did you ever make any formal complaints?
2003. No, it took me a long time to realise what they'd done.
Yeah.
And it was, he literally bled to death. I sat there and held his hand while he bled to death. And my mum was there too, even though they were divorced, because they were like friends.
Yeah.
And it wasn't after when I suddenly realised that the quality of life he had after they'd done that was actually worse than the quality of life they were talking about, because they killed him, effectively.
Yeah.
So they used the quality of life as an excuse.
Yeah.
And he ended up with no quality of life because he's no longer here.
Yeah.
He definitely wasn't ready to go. And I was just so shocked that they do that.
Yeah.
They make a decision whether you live or die.
Isn't it? It's it almost that element of I guess it kind of hits you in the face that you can do as much as you want or can as a human, but ultimately we're kind of controlled by other people or like systems.
The worst thing was he'd worked there for 20 years.
What, at the hospital?
AQA, he was a medical photographer.
God.
So you'd think they would have given him a little bit more maybe, but no.
Yeah.
So they allowed him to die.
So how did you pick yourself back up from that? Because you'd obviously already had...
Well, at this stage, while he was in the hospital dying, they were arguing who was going to take over his club.
Right.
Yeah. He used to say they like children, and they were. And they were all arguing on who was going to take over, which was totally disrespectful, and it really annoyed me.
Yeah, I bet.
So I took his PA out of the old house at home to do his funeral, which we did at the Gaiety on South Frankfurt. And that was my first open mic.
Right.
Yeah, was my dad's funeral.
Right.
So I took the PA out, did his funeral, all the people came, they all did a few songs each.
Yeah.
And it was lovely. And then I made a decision to move his club to the barn in Milton.
On the corner?
Yeah, the Milton Arms. There's a little room out the back.
And then you got the barn. They do a lot of like raves and stuff there as well.
Yeah, they did that after.
So
I moved it into the barn, pissed off a lot of the people who went to the other one.
Yeah.
A few came with me, most of them didn't. And I named it after him. It was called Roger Courtney's Open Mic Club.
Oh wow.
And I did it to keep his name alive.
Yeah.
It was the only reason I did it. It was to keep his name alive. So it was like the Church of Roger. It had a big picture of him on the back wall playing the guitar, which we'd use at the funeral.
Yeah.
And you came here, and I've seen a video of it, and it's quite weird because it looks like the Church of Roger. Anyway, I put this advert in the paper, about £40 advert in the news.
Yeah.
Open Mic Club, and opening Thursday at the barn, and all these people turned up. These most amazing people turned up, and musicians, young kids, just starting out.
Yeah.
And it was based on how my dad ran it, but obviously then
was it like with your spin on it though?
With my spin on it.
Yeah.
So it started changing.
Yeah, like the evolution of the Courtney legacy.
Yeah. And all these amazing kids turned up, and I didn't know a lot of them were really young to be in a pub. But today, it's some of the biggest musicians in Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Or actually, everyone started at the barn.
In the early days.
They all started at the barn when they were really young. I learned to play the guitar as well. Just when my dad died, I put a video of him on the TV, and I sat there with the guitar, and I watched him, and I copied him, and I taught myself how to play the guitar. in 3 weeks. Never been able to do it in my life.
Yeah.
And I played at the first open mic club.
Wow.
3 weeks after I picked the guitar up, played one of his songs.
Yeah.
And when I played it, I could hear him. Because my voice is exactly the same as his voice.
Oh my goodness.
So I could actually hear him and it was quite freaky, but I remember my wife crying.
Yeah.
And we used to do like a couple of songs each, and then it just started to evolve and things changed. And eventually, after a few years, I got fed up with listening to some real bad performers doing the same songs every week. So it became pre-booked.
Right, okay. So you could plan
quality
it out.
Control the performers.
Okay.
And that's when pre-booked open mic became a thing, and I didn't have to listen to the real bad stuff. I banned certain songs like Angels, Robbie Williams.
Oh, thank God.
And
the overplayed ones.
Yeah, they played one, American Pie. That drive me mad. It was always a long version. Anyway, it was just the most fun place ever. It became not just about music, but it became a really important social gathering and things where kids who had nothing to do, young teens could go, and it became really important. It was really funny, and it became like a massive family thing. Everyone got to know each other. It was funny.
Like-minded people as well.
Like-minded people.
Either played music or enjoyed music.
It was both. It wasn't just musicians, never has been. It's also the really important ones, also the ones who come to watch. They're just as important. And this amazing community built. And after a few years, I think I was there for 8 years, so I wasn't earning a penny, nothing. It's my hobby. I've had it for free. Everyone came in for free. There was no money involved anywhere. And after about 8 years, I think the ownership changed, and it was time to move on. So I moved it to the RMA Tavern in Eastmead. The gentleman called Kev, who was the landlord, and we created exactly the same thing, slightly different. Again, it just evolved slightly and changed slightly. Same format. The rock and roll raffles become a thing.
Yes, rock and roll raffle.
While I was away, one.
I had the GT, the Guild Tripping Girls in to record their podcast on Saturday, and I was like, oh, Nick Courtney's coming in on Monday. They were like, oh my God, he's the nicest guy ever. They were like, make sure he brings his guitar, make sure he does the rock and roll raffle song. But we're not going to do that, but we are going to stick some audio in.
Anyway, while I was away at the bar one week, I was on holiday. I let a couple of my friends run it, and I've got a guy called Garlic Brad Bennett. He decided to do the raffle that we always did to music. I think it was the jazz raffle. He did a really laid back jazz version. It's rude. So when I came back, I thought, that's brilliant. I'm keeping that. But it's a bit slow.
But I need to put my own spin on it.
Make it a rock and roll raffle. So he always comes to me, it's my idea. And I say, it's your idea. Not a rock and roll raffle. That's my idea.
My version's better.
Yeah, you did the jazz raffle, but no, it's your idea, 100%. And he's right, it was. And so we did the rock and roll raffle, and every week we did the rock and roll raffle. We sing the raffle tickets basically.
Blue ticket, a blue ticket. It is number 300. Here we go. 300 on the blue.
And people have used it in music videos. There's online. We took carloads of people to Wedgwood Rooms on a charity night, and we did it there. This Wednesday, there's a big do at the Gaiety South Bay Pier, a big charity event. They've asked me to do a rock and roll raffle.
Oh, I love
it. 8 o'clock in the evening.
So you're known for
I'm going down there to do this raffle. And it makes the raffle less boring
of
and
course, they
it's fast.
Can't they?
It's fast. You have to run it, get your prize, and there's audience participation,
so it's like a
and it gets the raffle out the way faster, and it's more fun.
With it. And so I know that like the Portsmouth music scene today, compared to say even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, is like a completely different kettle of fish, right? It's buzzing. So many creatives, like Victoria's Festival, and like there's just always so much going on. How does your role work today? So like, tell us a bit about, if we were Nick Courtney for a day, what does that look like?
Well, after the RMA Tavern, I was also simultaneously doing the Little Johnny Russell's.
Little Johnny
Russell's, the original.
Donkeys, though,
And 3 boys, 27-year-old boys owned it. One's called Ben Miles, who's my nephew. And I was doing the music in the pub, so I was doing 7 performers, acoustics on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they decided they're going to do a festival. And I'm the one who knows the music, so they came to me to do the music. We do the first 2 in the Dockyard, and I booked it all apart from the headliners, which was like Dodgy and the Lightning Seeds.
Yeah.
The rest of it was all local.
Yeah.
And that was the game changer.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden we've got this. Portsmouth never had anything where people, big names have came here.
No, never, no.
We had something called the Heineken Beer Festival years ago, which was just one tent, but we had a few names from the past in it. All of a sudden we've got Dodgy and the Lightning Seeds, which was, today is pathetic in comparison. At the time, it was massive. So I'm there with these 3 27-year-old boys, want to start a festival, I'm booking all the local bands and we're having a great time. And then it evolves and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And today, I run 5 stages and book 150 bands and do all the local stuff.
Victorious,
and still a lot of bigger names too on my stages. And it's the most exciting thing I've ever done. That took everything to a different level. In all fairness, it was a game changer for everybody.
How many years has Victoria's been going?
About 12.
Yeah, it's a while, isn't it?
It's about 12 years, but that was an absolute game changer for everybody. And I still can't sleep the day before Victorious. I get so excited.
Really?
Yeah, that's how important
it is. Oh my God, I love that so much.
It's incredible. So anyway, it's evolved along the line, and during that part, in answer to your question, I've also started my own ticketing company. Because my entrepreneurial streak crept back in, and while I'm putting tickets on, I can imagine
being in your brain.
I'm selling events out at the pyramids for 1,200 tickets, and I'm thinking, who's getting the booking fee? So I looked at it and I thought, I can do that. So I went into partnership with a business programming company called RadWeb. And again, one of my nephews owns that.
I've heard of that. What's
RadWeb? They're computer programmers. So I started a company called Book.Events, which is a ticketing company like See Tickets, and it's a local version. It's the Portsmouth version.
What's it called?
It's called Book.Events.
Book.Events. I must have come across it.
Right. So it's the local version
that as well.
of See Tickets and everything else, right?
Yeah.
So that's the game changer for me, because now my business model has evolved. So now I'm not just a promoter, I'm also a promoter and a ticketing agent. So it means not only can I promote my gigs, I can promote other people's gigs.
But you can do all of that through your booking.event.
Through Book.Events.
Book.event, and then you get the booking fee.
I get the booking fee. Obviously there's
rather
transaction fees and there's bank charges
whoever.
or that. There's a small booking fee. So Eventbrite don't get that anymore. None of those come together. I get it.
That's amazing.
So there's not a lot, and it's not enough to live off, but it's a bonus.
And it's even just having that thing inside your soul of like, I'm not giving that to
So then all I've got to do is get people to go to the ticketing company. So then I look at what I've done over the last 20 years, and I've managed to create 22 groups and pages on Facebook alone with 90,000 people on my social media. So it means if I put an event on, I can advertise it across my 22 groups and pages, and I can not only sell the tickets, I can get people to buy the tickets by driving them from social media to the Book.Event site. So then I realised that if that works for me, it works for everyone. So then all the other promoters in the city, or a lot of the other promoters and businesses, they come to me to not only ticket, but to promote their events. So I become a ticketing agent and a promoter, which is where I've evolved to today.
And it's no easy feat. I mean, I remember about 15 years ago, I worked at the Fifth Hants on Albert Road, and I had this idea of having little kind of organised open mics, right? So it was like once a week, maybe, I think it was on a Sunday, and I would try and organise anywhere between 2 and 4 acts. And it was bloody hard work.
It's incredibly hard work.
It's such hard work.
I get phone calls from pubs all the time. They go, we're really quiet, we want to put on a live music night. And I say to them, that won't make you busy. Do you know why that won't make you busy? Because all the people with the bands you want to bring in to build your trade up play every single weekend all over the city, and their mums and girlfriends don't even come to watch them anymore. Putting live music into your venue isn't what makes your venue busy. How you make your venue busy is to become known as a venue that has good music on regardless of who's playing, which is how I evolved my night. So wherever I go, it doesn't matter who's playing that night. They knew for the last 20 years, up to lockdown where I stopped for a while, on a Thursday night, they could go to wherever my venue was and have a good night regardless of who's playing.
And I think that's where your name comes into it, because obviously now, like you've seen for years now, it will say promoted by Nick Courtney or presented by...
And people trust me that
not
if
Nick
my
Courtney
name
Presents,
yeah,
do you know
Nick
what I
Courtney
mean?
Presents, that's what it is.
Name,
and they know that if it's a night that I'm running myself, that the music's going to be good regardless of who's playing.
You've obviously got like such an entrepreneurial spirit. I love that. Like no matter what you kind of put your hand to, you're going to make it work because that's what you told yourself you're going to do, right? Are your kids like that? Are they quite like? Because Sam, your son, Sam Courtney, and he, the man in the van. I've met him a few times. He's helped me out so many times.
That's him doing the entrepreneurial bit that I've done. It's taken him a long time to get there, but he's doing it, and he's doing it brilliantly.
And you can see that,
and on his own,
sings off the same hymn sheet in the sense of like, I'm not gonna do this and just be a one man with a van. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to take over the whole city.
Right, and that's,
do you know what I mean?
And that leads me on to the best point. The most valuable piece of business advice that I could give would be this: all these people thinking of ideas to make money, and trying to be entrepreneurial in that way. There is no big idea that will make you money.
No.
All you have to do is to do something completely normal, better than
really
everyone else.
Like be really passionate
which
about
is
it.
what I learned with my record shop. I'd been spending all these years doing these different clever ideas and lost a lot of money to find out that the record shop was only popular because I made it better than everyone else. And that's what he's done. Like you said, he's not just gone and done a delivery service, he's done the best delivery service.
Like
he's taken over
the best customer service, the best attitude when they turn up, you know, like no big's too,
and I haven't told
no
him
job's
that.
too big or
He's
too
done
small.
That. He's done that.
I love that guy.
But that's exactly what I learned. That's the way you do it. It's not a clever idea. It's being better than everyone else in what you do, and putting your own twist to it, and your own personality to it.
Having the best guests. So tell me, Nick, what would you say is the most politely rebellious thing you've ever done? I think there's quite a few, but if you could choose one.
Well, there's so many things that spin off from what I do. On the politely rebellious side, I got invited to a political meeting, which I don't do. I don't do these. I can't remember what they're called. But anyway, I went to this political meeting, and they're all talking about bedroom tax, and everyone's clapping at each other and all that. And there's a panel of
like
people like
or something.
Vernon Jackson, who was the leader of Portsmouth City Council, was on the panel. So I got up and I said, "How come?" I said, "The seafront in Portsmouth is so shit." And it went quiet. No one clapped. And Vernon Jackson said, because every time we try and do something, the residents oppose it, and it gets put down. And no, he didn't actually say that during the meeting. He refused to answer it during the meeting.
Oh wow!
He didn't answer it. He got closed down.
Gerald, that's it.
So after the meeting, I went to him and asked him this question, and he said to me, because every time we try and do something, the local residents close it down. So I went home and I thought about that. And I went online and I created a group called The People's Plan for Southsea, because there was the Portsmouth Plan, which was done by Portsmouth City Council on how to make things better. So I did the People's Plan for Southsea, and we got 5,000 members. And the original idea for the group was to, if someone came up with a good idea, whether it be council based or anywhere else, and it was opposed by local residents who consider it to be their back garden, what they're called, the NIMBYs, not in my backyard.
Not in my backyard,
We would go up against them using the power of the 5,000, which I found out later is called a pressure group. I had no idea.
Oh, I love that.
Had no idea.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that.
But
so I created a pressure group without knowing it. So I also got people people put in all their ideas of how to what they thought we needed in the city, and the council actually looked at it and took notice, which was incredible. And the reason they took notice, which I found out quite later, is to become a Portsmouth City Councillor. How many votes do you think you need? Do you know?
10,000, I think.
No. Most of them win with just over 1,000 votes.
Is that it?
Yeah, 1,000 to 1,200, 1,500. What horrified me at this stage is I suddenly realised no qualifications required, not even from a less than McDonald's.
Not even just the paper qualifications, but the life experience.
No experience required, no qualifications, nothing. And you can be a politician if you get 1,000 votes in your area or 1,200 votes. So there I am sitting there with 5,000 people. They're
Who
sitting
you know
there.
damn well will vote you in.
I've got 1,000 people. Well, I'm not trying to get voted in.
Yeah, but
I'm just trying to cause trouble.
But it's probably that penny.
I'm not trying to cause trouble. I'm trying to make things better.
You're being politely rebellious.
I'm being politely rebellious.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make things better. Genuinely care.
Yeah.
And sick to death of the sea. Portsmouth is a nice walk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you go to Brighton, Bournemouth, go anywhere. God goes, don't go to Manchester. My God, you'll blow your head away.
Yeah.
Everywhere is buzzing.
Yeah. Completely different kettle of fish.
We are dead and buried.
Yeah.
They've killed it.
Yeah.
Systematically destroyed the seafront and become a nice walk.
It's crazy,
And it horrifies me.
Yeah.
Every building on the seafront was a going hotel or guest house, and one into the other. There was nightclubs. There was
Yeah. Oh
life.
God, yeah.
There
I
was
mean,
life.
I grew up in Somerstown.
Yeah,
so
I did.
Yeah. Oh, did you? Whereabouts?
I was in Milverton House
Oh.
up to 15 years old.
Oh, I was
And then moved to Eastleigh.
Waterloo Street.
Yeah. So I had a
Yeah.
son.
So it's like it's on your doorstep,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah, but they systematically killed the whole of our nightlife, seafront, everything. I get so angry about it, honestly. I'd love to be someone to be held to account for what they've done, but they're probably most of them are dead by now. But anyway, it's shocking what they've done. So this group was to find ideas to make it better. So the first thing that happened was the Arches in Old Portsmouth.
Yeah.
You know the Arches where they've got the art studios?
Where the tattoo,
No, there's all round art studios.
Yeah, where the hot walls are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hot walls.
But whenever I think of the Arches, I
Yeah.
think of way back in the day when the only Pompey tattooist really
Yeah,
was in the Arches.
the dockyard.
Yeah, that end, yeah.
So anyway, they've decided they want to put art studios in there, the council.
Yeah.
So the residents of Old Portsmouth decided they don't want art studios in there because that's their doorstep. They don't want the cars coming in, they don't want it. So they petition against it. And they tell everyone they're going to put a supermarket in there. You can have their little alcoves, And they sit there uploading hundreds of names and addresses at night.
Wow.
And it gets nasty. So nasty that I really didn't want to walk down the high street.
Wow.
It was like vile. So I campaigned against them for a long period and matched them vote for vote.
Wow.
And got it through.
Well done.
And now the people, which I knew they would go, oh, we live next to the Arches.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's
It
lovely.
is, it's wonderful.
I knew it
And
was
they
gonna be
do all the
lovely,
markets.
but they didn't
and-
want it. Yeah, because again, it was not in my backyard. And we won.
Yeah.
We won. Just using the power of this group, we won it. And it was incredible. It was an incredible feeling.
Yeah.
It got forgotten about pretty quickly, apart from the people who were involved at the time. But it was a fantastic thing because for the first time ever, we'd actually made a difference, and we'd actually made
begun
something
that
happen.
journey,
And that wouldn't be there.
Change.
That would not have been there
No.
if we hadn't done that.
How do you feel? So it's like, I don't know if this is going to come across as controversial for you or not, but like, how do you feel about like when Victorious goes up every year, and there seems to be like posts online about the local business owners being kind of like shut out of the vicinity or whatever? Like, how do you have an opinion on that? Or like, is it for safety? Is it because the festival needs to make money? Like, why?
I don't
does that
know
happen?
what local business they're referring to because you can come and go to 8 o'clock.
Well, that's what I thought as an out. Yeah.
So because the people aren't restricted, they can come and go to 8 o'clock. How's anyone being cut out?
If they want to go to that fish and
It's
chip shop,
in the
or
same
they want
way
to
as
go to
if
that
you think
news agents or
the-
that pub, then they can.
if you think the drinks are too expensive, you think the food's too expensive,
Go to the
festival,
pub over the road.
go over the road and
Because
get a
there are
drink.
still a few pubs like in that vicinity.
We've got the whole of Palmerston Road.
Well, I know that,
Yeah.
but like just even on that strip, you've got a few avenues. Yeah.
So no, I don't know what the problem is, to be honest.
Good.
It just brings millions into the city.
Yeah.
It's
What
brilliant
more
for
would you
everyone.
want?
Yeah, who will want that?
And it gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So do you get the inside info of who the
No.
headliners and stuff are going to
No,
be?
they're so secretive, they don't even tell me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so
Yeah,
interesting.
they don't even tell me.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, that was the first thing we did, which was politely rebellious.
Yeah.
The second thing was, and I won't go into massive detail, but it was South Red Pier.
Yeah.
When they took over the pier, there was a massive...
Was there a time where they were going to get rid of it?
No, there was a massive group of people in Southsea, influential people, who wanted to own the pier. They didn't have the money.
Right.
So what they decided to do, I actually met with them, and I said, I found out that the pier's been sold. The two guys who bought it are going to bring it back to what it was originally, and it's sorted. I said, are you going to support him? And they said, no, we're going to do everything we can to make his life difficult. And I said, wrong answer.
Oh wow.
So then I took him on. And again, it was a massive, major battle of publicity. They were telling the public they were going to throw it in the sea and sell it for scrap metal. which was an absolute lie.
Bloody hell.
I was telling people that they were going to do what they were saying to do because I'd met the guys or spoke to them on the phone. I believed them.
Yeah.
So I backed them and did the PR, and I was the spokesman for about a year, 2 years.
Wow.
And we turned public opinion around. Everyone backed them, and it became incredible. The public support was amazing, and that was done with the power of the People's Plan for Southsea. It was the second thing where it made a massive difference because again they could have stopped it happening.
Yeah, and it's funny because that I mean I used to go raving on the pier. Like that's my early teens, early 20s or whatever.
Yeah.
And when it was closed for that period of time, it was so sad.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was really important.
Such a poignant
and it was so important to me because I'd done the fishing. I'd sold my head on there. I started my record shop in the Sunday market.
Yeah.
So for me, that was really important because it has many other purposes that are unknown to people and many memories to people. It was a really important thing.
It's a beautiful place, isn't it?
And the third thing was the last one I attempted, and I gave up after that because nothing was actually giving me the inspiration to actually get involved. Was the building opposite the pier, which is on People's Home, McCarthy and Stone People's Home.
What, the one that used to be the clubs?
Yeah.
Yeah, Time and
So we've had all the Time and Enfield, the nightclubs, all the best part of Portsmouth is replaced with an old People's Home.
And a co-op underneath.
And a co-op underneath, servicing alcohol on the beach.
I feel sorry for the generation of today.
Yeah, it's horrific.
Like all the girls that work with me, who were all like early 20s, and I'm like, it's Friday night, what are you doing?
I know.
And they're like,
I know.
There is nothing to do.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's just not what it used to be.
I know.
I remember going to the Inspirational Women of Portsmouth Awards in March or something this year, and it was on a Friday night, and we were outside Guildhall waiting for our taxi to go home because we were old, and it was like 11, half 11. And Guildhall was dead. Yeah. And I was like waiting for the taxi, you know, where the dead end bit is by Guildhall. Yeah. And I'm poking my head round where like Wetherspoons is, where Walkabout used to be. And I'm like, what's going on? I know. What's going on? I know, they killed that as well. There was nothing.
They killed that too. That's gone.
Mad.
That's gone.
Whereas when I was younger, it was like buzzing. Like you go there, then you go down to Time and Envy and Bar Blue and all that.
Yeah, they destroyed that too. So anyway, they did solve People's Home. The council threw it out and said no. They said the building was shocking and they didn't want it. And they went to the planning inspector in Bristol and overrode our council and gave them permission. And when it went to the planning inspector, the council sent 2 young blokes to defend it who didn't have a fucking clue, didn't know anything about it. And I ended up being the only one talking against it, just me. God. So it was me against them. And it was me against 10 barristers, basically.
Well, thank you.
And I lost because they built it. But it was a shame. And the reason that we lost because years ago, a Portsmouth councillor or leader had drawn they have you can allocate land in Southsea for special purposes and say it's really important for tourism and you can make sure that land is protected. He drew a line round that piece of land so it could be sold deliberately. So it had been protected and it should have been used for a conference centre, a large hotel or something that benefited the city.
Oh, could you imagine if that was somewhere where you could have
bars,
live music and stuff?
Even cocktail bars and little things, because the pier stands on its own now. It's like
there's nothing else down there,
there's
is
nothing
there? And haven't they just closed down the beach club and stuff like that because they do the regeneration work?
For the regeneration work,
Which, you know.
So, I mean, we're a nice walk. The thing for the slogan for our city is Portsmouth, the great waterfront city. Yeah. It should actually be come to Gunwharf and fuck off. Because that's all they actually care about. It's Gunwharf. Gunwharf gets all the publicity. Yeah. It's the only reason people come to Portsmouth. Yeah. You can go and see some boats while you're here. Yeah. Go and see the Victory.
Yeah, but they're in that one little spot there.
So you've got thousands of people coming into the city. Go to Gunwharf. Go home.
Like when you
don't go anywhere else.
Literally, and when you see when Victorious is coming up and you start seeing people from outside of the city posting on the Victorious like pages and forums asking, right, I'm coming into this train station or my coach comes into Portsmouth Harbour, how much would it cost to get a taxi from there to there, and there are people like me going, walk, like just walk, you know, you can walk to there, but
everything, you can walk to anything.
You like do it, you know.
So
but there needs to be more like on the way and stuff, you know, that regeneration of those areas.
Go to Bournemouth and Brighton, you can have a drink on the seafront, you can there's bars everywhere. We're not allowed to have that. We're not allowed to have a drink of alcohol on the seafront. We're treated like children. We are, and it's half of it's because we're a naval port, and it's stricter than the rest of the country for licensing.
Right.
Always has been.
Yeah.
But it took 100 years to get to the stage where we had 3-4 o'clock in the morning economy,
Yeah.
and lockdown destroyed it.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's
the
gone.
Indians close at 12. They used to open until 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
At 12 o'clock, everyone goes home. It's shocking.
Yeah.
The economy's
It's like a
absolutely
ghost
screwed.
town, isn't it?
And also, most the venues are all running on one night a week.
Yeah.
Friday's dropped down to 25% of Saturday now, or 50%.
Whereas back in the day, it would be Albert Road. God.
You could go out any night of the week.
Oh my God! And when we used to do Albert Road Day.
You could go any night of the week.
Yeah.
That's one of the other things I did when I was no, not Albert Road Day.
Oh, okay.
When it was like Albert Road Day. When I was doing the People's Plan for South, I was getting quite involved with the councillors and the politicians. We had a meeting. I was the chairman of Fratton Road Traders Association.
Right.
So we had a meeting and all the councillors turned up and they said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to close Fratton Road for a day, put a stage each end and have a festival."
Yeah.
And they went, "Yeah, we can do that." I said, "No, you can't." I said, "It's the main road in and out Portsmouth. You'll never do that." And they said, "Yeah, we'll do that."
Yeah.
5 years we did it.
Wow.
So we put a stage at both ends.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, live bands and music at both ends, stalls up the middle. We had a multicultural, amazing festival.
Oh my God, Nick Courtney for leader of Portsmouth City Council, please.
No. The trouble is, right, people that ask why you don't. I don't do that, and the reason is if you become a council politician, you start talking like them.
Oh yeah.
You start walking like them.
Yeah.
And you start being one of them.
Yeah.
And you change, and you have your jargon changes. Now, I don't know.
Yeah, you become scripted.
And do you know what? You can be far more powerful without being one.
100%.
Yeah,
I agree.
because when you get yourself into a situation like that, you have to follow certain criteria and rules. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say whatever.
You have to be signed off and stuff.
Exactly.
100%. Yeah. No, I totally
so
get
you can
that.
do more good.
Yeah.
On the outside.
On the outside.
Yeah,
You just got to
being
be willing to
politely
put yourself out there.
Rebellious.
Right, I'm going to finish off now with some quick fire questions for you. So no right or wrong answers. So I think that we've probably answered this one quite clearly. Vinyl or Spotify?
Oh, vinyl.
Yeah, clearly, all day. Stone Roses or Guns N' Roses?
I'll say vinyl in my heart. Spotify
but for
in reality.
For a quick fix.
Yeah.
For a quick fix. Yeah, you've got Alexa.
What's the second one?
Stone Roses or Guns N' Roses?
Oh, I'm Stone Roses, believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Snickers bar or Mars bar?
Snickers,
Yeah.
like the peanuts.
Good old Snickers. They're never what they used to be,
No.
are they?
No.
You know, like the Star Bar that's got the peanut butter in it, but they're like this big now, but they used to be like proper big and juicy and Easter or Halloween?
Easter. Not Halloween fan. No.
Any reason behind that?
Too many kids involved.
Easter is just Jesus.
Yeah. It's just chocolate. Chocolate.
Yeah.
One you get chocolate, the other one you give loads of sweets away. No.
And festival or a gig? You can only choose one or the other.
Oh, that's tough. I'm going for festival.
Yeah.
The
vibes.
Yeah.
The vibes.
100%. Happy. That's my happy place.
When it comes to Victoria's, who's like a local group or band that you would just book over and over and over and over if you could?
I've got so many.
Have you?
Yeah, and it's a problem because I'm not allowed to.
Yeah.
It's so hard not to.
What, you're not allowed to book them over and over and over?
Well, I'm not allowed to. I'm supposed
You're not allowed to, like,
I'm not meant to repeat everyone every year.
Mm.
Because there's a lot, and I understand that. But the argument is, if someone is that good or they're doing that well and they're that popular, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
So I fight against that a little bit. But there's quite a few in the city who are at the top of their game and manage to keep going at that standard consistently always. There's some really incredible artists in the city. It's incredible talent. And when you take those all out because you booked them last year, it's almost like you're devaluing it a little bit. I think you've got to get a balance.
A good balance.
You've got to get a good balance between the two.
And that's where you come in.
Yeah.
Thank you for keeping on top of the promotion game here in Pompey. Really appreciate it. And thank you so much for coming in.
You're welcome.
I know you're a busy man, so I really appreciate it.
No problem at all.